Hoi! I'm a long-time Linux power user and a software developer. I daily drive Linux and even my MacBooks have Linux on it. However, this is not another switch to Linux in 5 minutes hype video. This is the stuff you dare to say out loud. So if you are here for bias confirmation or your 3542nd daily Linux is superior praise the penguin circle jerk, keep doom scrolling. This video isn't for you. But if you are absolutely fed up with Microsoft, not willing to drop stupid money on Apple hardware and genuinely wonder what will happen when you finally ditch your Windows comfort zone, buckle the fuck up, we're going on a trip. One-way ticket, no refunds. These are the dirty truths you secretly wanted to know, but were too ashamed to ask. First shock, there are no C or D drives. Nowhere. The file system looks more like what you will find on Mac, because Mac OS is BSD based. Another Unix flavor. Everything you own lives in home username. That is your kingdom. You have God mod there. Delete, rename, create whatever the hell you want. Everywhere else, you need root permissions, and no, there is no cute "Are you sure" pop-up like on Windows. Any system-changing decision demands your super user password. Explicit. Signed in blood. No exceptions. Desktop will look different. How different? Depends on which desktop environment you pick and install. KDE, GNOME, Hyperland, whatever. You can swap them later. Power users love this freedom. We customize from kernel to cursor theme. For you, fresh off Windows, it can feel like a choice overload and instant confusion. Most of the desktops let you tweak a lot through GUI, but the real power lives in the terminal. Yeah, that thing that gives you a panic attack just thinking about it. It is the best weapon Linux hands you. Surgical scalpel 1 minute, nuclear option the next. Type one stupid command like sudo rm-rf/, and congratulations, you just deleted your entire operating system, so don't do that. Games, easy. So easy it is boring nowadays. Install Steam, install game from your library, done. It works or it doesn't. Hotos Thrustmaster works better than on Windows. No drivers to install, smooth operation, no jitter, all buttons work just fine. Installing software, it is usually done through a package manager that feels like a slightly sketchy app store. Except there are multiple package systems, multiple repos, multiple stores. Some apps are not in any of them, and then you are downloading a random .sh scripts and praying. Oh, and double-clicking installer.sh doesn't do anything. Or maybe it will open it in a text editor. You have to chmod plus exit first. Permissions are a thing here. Windows trained you that anything you double tap just runs. Linux does not trust you by default, and honestly, that is probably for the best. File extensions, mostly theater. Rename test.txt to test.wav and it still opens as text. The file system cares about content, not the label you slapped on it. You are going to make classic noob mistakes, running everything with sudo like it's a candy, trying to force your entire Windows software library to run instead of looking for native alternatives. I expect it. Every noob does it. Hardware, most stuff just works out of the box these days. Keyboards, mice, Wi-Fi, usually fine. But some things will not. Got a fancy VR headset? Good luck. And if you've got an NVIDIA card, well, some people, like me lately, got lucky and it behaves flawlessly. Others, driver updates turn their desktop into a black screen lottery. Wayland glitches, suspend issues, random performance regressions. It's better than those though, but it's still a single biggest I hate Linux trigger for gamers and creators. AMD users, you get to feel smug for a minute. Enjoy while it lasts, because tomorrow the kernel might decide your smugness is bloat and evicted. You will have to ditch Microsoft Office, or whatever they're calling it this week, for Libre or only Office. Outlook? Try Evolution if you need Exchange. Your audio and video pipeline will be different. Pipewire, Jack, Carla. Sounds like a high school band name to you right now, but it is way more flexible once you learn it. Until then, it may or may not feel broken, like the whole orchestra showed up drunk but somehow still plays just better than Windows Media Player ever did. Carla lets you route anything to anything, add plugins in between nodes, save it as a config file, run it as an audio server. It's brilliant. Hidden files will ambush you. Suddenly, your folders are full of .config, .cache, .local, .nom, .kde crap. Windows hid this garbage like embarrassed parents stuffing dirty laundry in the closet. Linux throws it straight in your face the moment you show hidden files. And yes, file names starting with a dot are hidden by design. Want to save your desktop and user environment settings in case of an inevitable noob nuclear holocaust? back those up. You're welcome. Distro choice will paralyze you. Ubuntu, Mint, Fedora, Pop! OS, Nabara, Arch, each has its own cult. Pick the beginner-friendly one, and 3 weeks later you are neck-deep in the Arch wiki anyway, reciting man pages like their ancient scripture. Windows users are used to one single Windows. Here it is a full-blown religious zealots fighting in the comments, each convinced that their distro is the one true penguin, while the rest are heretics who deserve to be excommunicated via apt purge. Desktop environment, my advice for Windows refugees: start with KDE. Arch purists will scream, "Just write your own hyperlink, bro," at 3 AM while editing dot files like it is a performance act. Ignore them. Some of us just want to use the damn computer and not treat it like a full-time hobby that requires a priest, an exorcism, and a blood oath to the terminal. Dual boot or not dual boot? My strong advice: do not. Quit cold turkey. Nuke the Windows partition. Windows updates love to murder grub anyway. Dual booting is like trying to quit smoking, but only on Sundays. Half measures will bite you in the ass when the update gods decide it is time for another Windows crusade against your bootloader. Once you are balls deep, it is sink or swim. Your Windows muscle memory will fight you every step. Things will feel scary, strange, and annoyingly different. This is the hazing period. If you give up and crawl back to Microsoft, you probably never belonged here in the first place. But if you survive, if you learn a handful of terminal commands, a few core concepts, and stop treating OS like a fragile toy, something clicks. Suddenly, you gain real power and freedom. You control your machine instead of it controlling you. And going back to Windows starts feeling like putting on the user-friendly handcuffs, completed with Copilot annoyance laced with telemetry. Not to mention that in some parts of the planet, using Linux is becoming a civil disobedience. If that's the case, welcome to the Rebel Club. The road there is not milk and honey, it is more like a one-way expedition to Mars with a no-return ticket and a spacesuit designed by a committee. You might pick a wrong distro, where your NVIDIA card black screens on update, turning your beautiful desktop into a modern art installation titled Air 404 Pixel Not Found. Or you discover that your cheap printer needs proprietary drivers, while the more popular one works perfectly because Linux hardware support sometimes plays favorites like a petty high school clique. Some minimal distros will not even play YouTube or MP3 out of the box because the artist that forged it decided codec is blow. Should have picked a beginner one, bro. Live and learn, preferably without sacrificing a goat to multimedia gods. Adobe, forget it. DaVinci Resolve becomes your new best friend for video work, but installing it properly takes a little bit more than some random GitHub script turning your system into Rocky Linux. Yes, there is a cleaner way, and maybe I will show it to you if you ask nicely and promise not to summon any more dependency demons. Microsoft fonts will make your documents look slightly off, like they showed up in a business casual to the party while everyone else in tuxedos. OneDrive and Teams, the official clients, suck or don't exist. You will limp along with the web versions of rclone and feel downgrade deep in your soul. Zoom works, kind of, but really it sucks. Discord works, sure, with all the details in the storefront will tell you which version wants minimal access and which one wants the god mode to the whole operating system, because why not give the chat app root privileges while you at it so that it can collect the telemetry and send it to Persona for styling and racial profiling. Flatpak versus Snap versus app image versus native packages. The four horsemen of the install for the same app, each with its own drama and holy war. You will pick the wrong one and wonder why it cannot see your downloads folder like it got lost in a sandbox and started a new religion. OBS behaving differently depending on where you installed it from? Yep, welcome to the club. These packaging wars are basically Linux users suffering from the advanced double down syndrome. Every flaw must be defended to death because admitting it might give Windows a single point in the eternal scoreboard. The file system is case-sensitive. Document.txt and document.txt are two different files. Porting shit from Windows, you will break paths, and script that worked fine on Windows for years suddenly fail because of that. Windows and its consumers never cared about capitalization. Not really. Linux and Linux users do. A lot. It's like moving from a laid-back beach town where nobody locks their doors to a city where a homeowners association fines you for breathing too loudly. No central registry, thank God, no more registry road. But config files scattered everywhere like a confetti after a parade nobody remembers drawing. You will learn to love or at least tolerate nano VIM real quick, because sometimes the only way to fix something is to manually edit the soul of the machine while muttering sacred incantations. Update anxiety is real. Rolling release distros can break things with a new kernel drop. Even stable ones like Ubuntu can surprise you once in a blue moon. Though Windows forced updates breaking everything is just another Tuesday for the Windows consumers these days, so perhaps if and when that happens, it will make you feel like you're back in the familiar comfort zone of Windows. Timeshift Backup Restore is your savior. You're welcome. And yes, you will still become the family tech support, only now they think you're a wizard because you can open a terminal and make the computer do your bidding with a few keystrokes. The irony of that is delicious, like graduating from "can you fix my printer" to "please summon the rain gods to make my Wi-Fi faster." Choice overload is dangerous. You start with KDE because it looks normal, next thing you know you're rising tiling window manager to I am questioning every life decision that led you here, like a frog that voluntarily jumped into the boiling water because the water looked customizable. But if you make it through the tunnel, you will end up with a fast, stable, deeply customized system that you actually understand and control. It just hums there on the background, almost boring. Getting there, not as straightforward as influencers claim. Linux rewards patience and curiosity. If you have zero of either, stay on Windows. This operating system is for users, not consumers. That's all. Don't get captured.